would you, because obviously we see it through media or, you know, through Twitter and stuff like videos, but obviously you're on the ground there. So would you say that, you know, from the normal people, from the masses, that these trials and tribulations, are they making us stronger as an ummah? You know, what the people are experiencing on the ground. So what is it? Is it bringing them closer to the deen? Is it, you know, is it preparing them for what's to come?
You know, subhanAllah, there's many ahadith when it comes to Bilad al-Sham. And one of the words that the Mashaykh use, they say tasfiyah. It's a filtration process. So that Bilad al-Sham, the Prophet ﷺ said that Tuba al-Sham, that, you know, glad tidings to Sham. And, you know, the wings of angels rest over Sham. And there's many ahadith that speak about the blessings of Sham. And even, for example, the Prophet ﷺ said that إذا فسدت أهل الشام فلا خير فيكم. The Prophet ﷺ said that if the people of Sham are corrupted, then there is no goodness in all of you, as in the whole ummah.
Yeah.
So some of these statements are very profound, powerful statements, and you don't really understand them until you live in these places, like Palestine. Like Palestine is part of Sham, okay?
Yeah.
Syria is part of Sham, okay? So when you live in these places and you see, subhanAllah, you see the resilience and you see what people are standing for. They say, we are here because we are Muslim and we believe in La ilaha illallah, and this is why we're being killed. That is a certain power that only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give people. Imagine now, while all this corona stuff's going on, there's been a ongoing struggle here on the ground where people have wanted to close the masajid, but the people have basically just revolted. They said, no, we're going to keep all the masjids open. Now, I know people have their views about this, okay? But the people here are saying, look, if we can't close the marketplaces, and we can't, when we go to get our aid in distributions, when the aid is distributed, we have to all gather. For our dunya, if we're going to gather, why are we not going to gather for our akhirah? So they said, we're not going to accept to close the masajid. They said, if it's going to be a complete ban and we're going to do social distancing like the West, okay, we'll accept it. But for everything else to be open and for the masjids to be closed, we're not going to accept it. So there's this rejuvenation of Islam within the people. And I think this is one thing that's very important, that if Islam is left in a place to grow, it will flourish by itself. It will flourish by itself. And unfortunately, the reality is that many people or many governments or many world powers, they see that as something scary. They see that as a threat. Because the reality is that Islam is the only religion or ideology that does not fit with globalization. Globalization is based on capitalism, is based on the sexualization of women, it's built on greed. And this is all of the things that Islam is against. Islam is not secular. We don't split our religion and the government. No, they are one and the same. So we don't put the Bible, you know, on the shelf on the weekdays, and then on Sunday, you know, we pick up the Bible. We don't do that with the Quran. The Quran should be something that we're living every single day. And that's a very difficult concept for many people in the world to accept. And that's why I feel that in places like this, they are, you could say, very, very special places. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them this status for a reason. Even Yemen, if you look at Yemen now, if you look at Palestine, if you look at Sham here, yeah, the people are going through struggles, but 100% I believe that this is making the people stronger. We see it every day. We see it every day. I've seen miracles. I've seen people who've had their whole, I've seen mothers who've seen all of their sons killed, and maybe they have one son left, and they'll be like, listen, he's going to go to the front lines. You know, he has to go, and we're going to support him. And inshallah, if he gets shaheed as well, then alhamdulillah, I'm going to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't see that in other places, except for places like Palestine and Sham. You don't see that in other places, you know. So where does this come from? This comes from a true sense of iman and tawakkul, which doesn't exist. You know, unfortunately, you know, the reality is a lot of our parents, they say, oh, puttar, you know, don't go, just give some money, you know, bal bache, they will say, you know, to talk about the kids and all this kind of stuff. You know, that's the reality. But the difference is that there is mothers in the ummah that are like Safiya. Do you understand? There are mothers still in the ummah today that are like Sumayya. And this is what we need to come back to. I know it might sound harsh and it might sound bad, but the reality is, bro, you know, the Prophet ﷺ prophesied this when he said that a time will come and the nations, you know, the Muslims will be massacred, like nations sitting around the table, or like people are gathered around the table and taking piece by piece by piece. And the Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, is that because we will be small in number? And he said, no, you will be great in number. And they said, so why is this? He said, because you will have a wahan in your hearts. And they said, what is this wahan? They said, a love of the dunya and a hate of death. And unfortunately, this is what many of us have. This is what, you know, this is what I had, and may Allah accept me, you know, and may Allah, protect me from the love of dunya ever coming into any of our hearts.